Breaking news, Dub Nation. It has happened. Stephen Curry signs an extension, a contract extension with the Golden State Warriors, putting him with Golden State all the way through the 2026-27 NBA season. A one-year, $62.5 million deal. Massive money for Steph Curry, but we all know he deserves it. We're going to unpack everything a part of this contract and what it means for the future of the Golden State Warriors over the next 3 seasons that Steph will be in town. But first, guys, this is why you subscribe. I know we're in the heat of late August, nearing September, and the NBA news well has run dry. But guess what? We have breaking news, and we're going to bring it to you as quick as possible. We're bringing a video immediately after the contract extension announcement of Steph Curry. So if you never want to miss a moment on your Golden State Warriors all season long, into the offseason, and hopefully a postseason as well for Golden State this season, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Hit that sub button down below. All right, so here's the official announcement coming in from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. He said Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry has agreed to a one-year, $62.6 million contract extension that'll keep him under contract through the 2026-27 NBA season, according to his agent Jeff Austin of Octagon. This is awesome. Thank God, because last week it was dumbfounded rumors, but Stephen Curry changing his Instagram bio. I mean, Golden State not making a big-time deal for Lauri Markkanen or Paul George this offseason. So questions were raised about whether or not Stephen Curry would be locked in to Golden State long-term. Is he a long-term piece? Is he trying to jump ship and go to LA with LeBron? It's not going to happen now, as far as we know, for the next 3 seasons. Let's go. Bobby Marks followed it up with a tweet explaining why it was a one-year contract for Stephen Curry. And we explained this a couple weeks ago in a video. He said Curry passes $500 million in career earnings, joining LeBron James and Kevin Durant as the only active NBA players to do so. And I'm pretty sure the only NBA players all time to do so, since the contracts are so high nowadays. But because of the over 38 rule, the one-year extension is the maximum that Golden State could offer at this time. So the over 38 rule is just to give teams a little bit of security and to not shell out massive contracts late in players' careers that end up screwing those teams salary cap-wise later down the line, turning them into bad contracts. So Steph could only sign a one-year contract extension as of right now. Remember, he had a deadline on October 22nd, the day before the start of the 2024-25 NBA season. He got the deal done here at the end of August. So, as far as Stephen Curry and what his future looks like for the Golden State Warriors financially, here's what we got. In 2024-25, he's making $55.8 million. These are all massive numbers, by the way. If I just had one of these $1 million, I'd be a very happy man, but Steph's got a whole heap of them. In 25-26, he's got $59.6 million, basically $60 million. And in the 2026-27 season, the season for which he signed this contract extension, $62.6 million, right up there at the top of the NBA. I mean, obviously we know it's crazy money, but he's a blank check guy, right? Now, with this contract extension, 2026-27, look who he's lined up with now, Draymond Green. Draymond's contract also expires following the conclusion of the 2026-27 NBA season. It's interesting, but this might make Draymond want to play a couple more years longer with Steph. If you think back to earlier this summer, Draymond was on a podcast with Jeff Teague and explained that he might only have about 2 seasons left. But now that his contract lines up with Steph, we know how much Draymond loves Steph. We know how much Draymond loves LeBron James as well, who we'll talk about in just a little bit. But now those 2 contracts are lined up, and that could incentivize Draymond to play a couple more seasons while Steph is going to definitely remain in Golden State. And like I said, it's crazy money, but Steph Curry is a blank check guy. He might be the biggest blank check guy in the entire NBA when it comes to one franchise, because what Stephen Curry has done for this Golden State franchise is astronomical. For 40 years, for basically 4 decades before this guy came to town, the Warriors were mid. They were, some years even the laughingstock of the NBA. This guy comes along and absolutely transforms the trajectory, making Golden State basically a global brand. I mean, he's the all-time leader in games played, points, assists, 3-pointers. Obviously, NBA is all-time leader in those. Steals, crazy, and win shares. I mean, this guy has contributed to winning more than any Golden State Warrior in history, and he has maintained this mantra his entire career of Warrior for life. I want to be like Kobe. I want to be like Dirk. Staying with one team their entire careers, and looks like Steph has the clear path to be able to do that right now. And as far as the production that he's giving you at this point in his career, it's still at the top of the league. This guy's still playing at a top 5 level. I mean, 26 and a half a game last year, and he's still shooting lights out nightly from 3. He's getting up over 11 threes a night, and he's shooting them at over a 40 to 40+% clip. I don't even have to show you Steph Curry stats over the last 4 seasons, but we have it anyway. I mean, the guy is a top 5 player in the NBA. It's undisputed, and the fact that Golden State has had the luxury of having a player like this in town for 15 years now is a luxury that many NBA teams can't say they have. And, you know, dating back to last season, yes, Steph's still playing at an elite level, but we just saw Stephen Curry play at an elite level in the Paris 2024 Olympics. Look at the last 2 games he had. I mean, in the closeout game against France, in the gold medal game, Steph absolutely dominated them. That last 2 minutes of actual game time, Steph had 4 triples, and it was unconscious with the shots that he was making there. Some of the biggest threes of his entire career came on the international stage this summer, playing with the top talent in the world on Team USA. Steph Curry still showed that he can rise above to be that alpha dog player and lead a team full of all-NBA, all-star level players to the mountaintop. But why did he sign now? Why did Stephen Curry sign this extension now? I mean, we knew that the deadline for Steph signing a deal here was right before the start of the season. So he could choose to extend before the start of the NBA season on October 23rd, or he could have waited next summer. He was eligible for a 2-year, $130 million contract next offseason. Why did Steph decide to make a move right now instead of, giving himself more financial stability and, more, control, I guess, over his future next offseason when he's eligible for a 2-year deal? Well, this idea doesn't make a ton of sense to me right now, but people are talking on Twitter, and they're lining up one contract with Stephen Curry's to potentially team up. And like I said before, LeBron James, we're talking about him. Steph and LeBron, I think, if you were to ask them right now, money aside, contracts, restrictions, and how, rules aside, basically, if they could become teammates right now, they would. And I know LeBron, he is not signed on for the 2026-27 NBA season. Interesting. Could that mean he's leaving that door open to come to the Golden State Warriors? I know. This is a video about Steph. I can't speculate too much. That's going to go down 3 years down the line. But it's apparent that Stephen Curry and LeBron James would like to be teammates. They'd be happy to be teammates in the NBA in the twilight of their careers. Just a thought right now. Steph lining up his contract in a LeBron free agency year, especially signing it right now so that Golden State doesn't have to pay, the max amount of money that they could possibly pay Steph, because as contracts go up over the years with new TV deals and whatnot, they're paying him now, so maybe they could afford LeBron down the line. But like I said, this is a Steph video. If you're happy that Steph Curry is staying with the Golden State Warriors, give me some 30s in the comments. I want to see the comment section flooded with 30s if you're happy that Stephen Curry is remaining a Golden State Warrior for yet another season. 3 more years of Steph. Let's go. And next, what is Golden State's plan with Steph? What does this 3-year window look like for Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors? We're going to dive into all of that in just a moment, but we had to get you guys hooked up. Stephen Curry just signed an extension. It is safe. It is officially safe to go get yourself some Steph Curry merch on Fanatics right now by using this link right here, chatsports.com/Curry t-shirts. I'm going to get myself one now that I know that Steph Curry is locked up in Golden State over the next 3 seasons. You can get yours today as well. Chatsports.com/Curry t-shirts. I'm going to put that link in the comments and description of today's video to make it easy for you guys. Go get yourself some Steph merch right now. He deserves it. You deserve it. Get dripped out. Now, the question is, I know we just talked about LeBron, but that's a pipe dream. We don't know if that's even going to come close to happening. So is Steph Curry prioritizing winning by signing this deal and staying on with a Golden State Warriors roster that, quite frankly, in my opinion, doesn't have the championship status that a lot of these teams in the Western Conference do at this point? Because if you look at Golden State's roster, yeah, I actually don't mind the starting 5. I like the starting 5. Because we're going to see a big-time jump from Brandon Podziemski this year. We're going to see a big-time jump from Jonathan Kuminga this year. You still have Draymond Green, one of the best defenders in the NBA. And then, you're paying Andrew Wiggins a ton of money, so you probably have to start him. But the bench pieces as well look very solid. Now that we kind of know what direction that Golden State is going in, Buddy Hield and Moses Moody are going to, be those bench wings. D'Anthony Melton and Gary Payton II going to be more your bench guards. You got Kyle Anderson in the mix as well, going to take on that Draymond Green role from the bench, and Trayce Jackson-Davis, who I think is going to be a blossoming star, man in the middle for Golden State this year as well. There's promise on this Warriors roster, but maybe just not championship ceiling level at this roster has at this point. Now, we've always talked about this all summer long. With Steph Curry as your number one, yes, he can carry you to a ton of wins. He's one of the most clutch players in the NBA, and he has the ability to carry a mediocre roster on its back to title contention. But who is the number two next to Steph Curry? He's had Klay Thompson his entire career. He hasn't had to worry about a secondary scorer not being there for a long period of time. We actually saw what happened when Stephen Curry was without Klay Thompson for long stretches. It wasn't the best Warriors basketball. And now, these are who you're looking at for your number two on your roster. Now, Golden State has basically said, according to this man right here, Brandon Podziemski, that he is going to be taking on the Klay Thompson role. They said they want him to get up 8 to 10 3-pointers a game. We're going to have a whole video on Brandon Podziemski later this week, but had to cover this Steph stuff first. Brandon Podziemski is going to be taking on that Klay Thompson role on both the offensive and the defensive end. He's going to be guarding the other team's best guard, and he's going to be increasing his three-point volume by a lot this offseason. So it's looking like Brandon Podziemski is going to be your number two scoring option, and I'm not so sure that Stephen Curry is looking forward to having a second-year player who averaged 9 points a game last year as his number two in hopes of winning a championship. But according to Anthony Slater, who Stephen Curry has expressed his thoughts to following the 2024 Paris Olympics, Steph hasn't shown any panic or unrest with the current state of this Warriors roster. So apparently he's okay with it, the current state right now. He's fine with the pieces they have in place heading into the 2024-25 season. I mean, I guess he has to be, right? With the fact that, Utah played hardball with you. The Clippers played hardball with you. Neither of them wanted to trade a big swing piece to Golden State. So I guess Steph kind of has to be okay with the roster right now, but he hasn't shown any panic or unrest, and obviously by signing a one-year contract extension, he is okay with the direction that Golden State is going in. And we know this, right? Because Tim Kawakami says right here, and shout out to Tim Kawakami, by the way, one of the realest guys in the Warriors media space. Give him a follow on Twitter if you could. He said, what was missed by all who are panicking on this? And he's talking about Steph potentially wanting to leave Golden State. He says, Curry is involved with Golden State, with most Golden State planning discussions. He loved playing with Klay, but understood why that happened. It's a business, and understood why Klay felt the way that he did. And he's seen management commit a ton of money to the roster. He always wants the most, but he's seen it there. So Steph is talking constantly with the Warriors front office about what's going to be the state of this team moving forward, because I want to be here. So that's a good thing. We're happy about that. But maybe Steph isn't the best GM, or at least the best GM consultant, because I know I just said Brandon Podziemski is going to be your number two scoring option this year, but are we saying that that's a great option right now? I mean, these are your two most impactful players outside of Stephen Curry and Draymond Green this season. Jonathan Kuminga, who's going into year 4, and Brandon Podziemski, who's going into year 2. They had great seasons last year. They had, I wouldn't say great, but they had solid years last year. And you saw a jump from Kuminga in the scoring department and in the maturity department. After he met with Steve Kerr, his numbers were even better than the ones you see on screen, but incredibly efficient, highlight level guy, and is improving upon that outside shot. Definitely needs to become more of a shot creator if Golden State wants any title aspirations this season. And then Brandon Podziemski, a very solid season as a rookie. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that Brandon Podziemski or Jonathan Kuminga, over this 3-year stretch that Stephen Curry is going to be remaining in Golden State, are going to be viable second or third options that can take a team to the NBA Finals. I'm not so sure. I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm proven wrong with this scenario. But I think, in my opinion, that Golden State still needs a big swing move. There still needs to be somebody better in the scoring department, in the carrying the weight of a roster department, than Brandon Podziemski. I love Podziemski. I love his game, and I'm excited to see the strides that he's going to make this season. He's been putting in a ton of work this offseason, but I still think Golden State needs a big-time player next to Steph if they want to win a championship over the next 3 seasons. And we don't know who that player is right now. There's nobody available. Looks like the Golden State roster that's set right now is the one that we're going to see at the start of this season. So, with that being said, will Steph win another ring with the Golden State Warriors, whether it's now or whether it's later, potentially with a LeBron addition in the Bay Area? Who knows? But let me know down in the comments. Will Steph win another ring with Golden State? Type Y for yes or type N for no. And that'll do it for today's edition of Golden State Warriors Today. You know we're bringing you the news quicker and faster than anybody else on YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed. Go down below and hit that red subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Dubs.